hand if you So raise your hand if you think this system turned racist overnight. Because it didn't. It was built with this country. It was engineered, and you can name the parts. We're going to start with Benjamin Franklin in 1751 when he said, quote, "All of Africa, Asia, and America are swarthy. Italy, Spain, France, Sweden, and the Germans are black," end quote. Now, the line itself is a description. It's not racist. But what followed from it, what came of it, that's the racism. Racism isn't the observation. It's the ranking and policy built on top of it. Who is fit to belong, who must assimilate, and who can be excluded. That's the pivot from description to enforcement. And here are the mechanisms that operationalized the mindset. The colonial slave codes in Virginia from 1662 to 1705, the Naturalization Act of 1790, the Indian Removal Act of 1830, Johnson versus McIntosh in 1823, the Dawes Act of 1887, Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896, and the Immigration Act of 1924. Different domains, same function, define belonging, allocate rights, and control land. Once a governing class sets a rule for who counts, everything downstream aligns. Legal status, property rights, mobility, political voices. The categories aren't neutral descriptors, they're levers. And if you want to see how those levers were actually written into identity, then you have to go read Redacted Roots, Race Records, and the Invention of Colored America. This book is, well, just take for instance, before colonization, there was no colored or black. There was the Dene people or the Navajo. There was the Chata people or the Choctaw. What about the Chickasha or the Chickasha? You also have the Shawnee people who were called the Shanawaki. There were no colors, there were tribes. And those tribes were thriving. This land was full of people living with cities and trade and commerce. And then colonization happens. But I digress. Let's talk about the book some more. Because this book, it breaks down how labels weren't just described. They were assigned, recorded, and enforced through the very system I've been talking about. So, quote Franklin if you want to, but also ask the harder question. Like, which rules turned ideas into outcomes? That's where the impact lives. If identity can be defined in law, it can be used to include, exclude, or restructure a population. Name the rule, then follow what it does. From description to ranking to enforcement. The records prove it. And that's what's in this book. I'm going to leave the link in the captions just in case you guys are interested.
Okay. You know, crazy shit, man. I mean, these goddamn Edomites, boy. Fair use. This video is for commenting, news reporting, and educational purposes only by the Copyright Act statute of, 107 Copyright Statute of 1979 that constitutes fair use, right? Anyways, it was just, I saw this video on one of the other brothers of GMS Destination, and I thought I'd try to go get the original and see what she was talking about, and I've been going through some of her videos. I'm like, wow, man, these people are waking up. She's either, like the brother said, she's either a ginger or she's a speckled bird, like it says in Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9. Or she may have been one of those Israelites that had been scattered that we're trying to find as Israelites. Only people that can be Israelites, spiritual Israelites, or whatever have you, those are the only individuals that can be saved. They're the only ones that can be grafted back into being Israelites because they've been away from their inheritance and their heritage as Israelites for so long. and been intermingling with the seed after generation, an actual, Israelite woman would come looking like her, as you see on the screen. You see? And this is what happened during the transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade, the Silk Road, the reverse triangular slave trade, all of it. That was just the ones that we know about. Okay, now, I just found out also that the Rothschilds, the Epsteins, and the Oppenheimers are all on the same fucking level. So when the Epstein files came out, they were immediately, their job is to cover that shit up. Because Jeffrey Epstein is part of the bloodline family class of the elites of the original 13 Illuminati families that run the earth. They think that they're a specific bloodline that's godlike or some goddamn stupid bullshit, which they're the devil that the Bible speaks of, actually. Okay, they're satanic power on earth. The only royalty that they get is the royalty of dirt, the royalty of human feces. Okay, if there is such a thing. This is what they deserve. That's the crown that they deserve, a crown of shit. Okay, because of the wickedness that they've done to the children of Israel wherever they're at. And they've been at constant war with the so-called black populations of the earth, as you heard in this video, for over 1,000 years. God damn, man. Give us a break already, will you? They've been at war with us since Jacob and Esau. Let's go get it. Wow, that just popped in my head. I don't know why, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, let me get that out of it. Okay, I'm like, wow, let's go get it. Genesis, let's go get it, man. Because these motherfucking devils, boy, they ain't gonna never change. They're gonna always hate us, man. No reason. I'm gonna hate you just because I can, Right? Let's start here. Genesis chapter 27, verse 37. And Isaac said to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, I have made Jacob your master and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son? Right? Because Esau was Isaac's favorite because of his venison that he cooked for him all the time. Right? Which is deer meat stew. Right? Which is the modern day equivalent to a fucking deer meat pot roast, right? Lentils, red pottage, venison, deer meat, put it in the oven, 2 hours, deer meat pot roast. Ta-da! Right? And this motherfucker sold his birthright to his brother Jacob for one morsel of meat, as it is written in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. He's a profane person, meaning standing outside of the temple. The temple of the Most High God are men. The temple of the Most High God are his people, his inheritance, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the services of and the promises of salvation. Okay, which means rulership over your enemies, where the Most High will make your enemies, these Edomites and all these heathen nations, your footstool. See? When you connect the dots, it all makes more sense, doesn't it? Now, Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. Esau pleaded, but do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too. Then Esau broke down and wept. Now, this is all of the so-called royal bloodline, okay, the godlike bloodline from which all the elites at the top stem from. This crybaby, asshole, Edomite, Esau, okay? That's where they all stem from. We can go to, I think it's Genesis 10, and get all the dukes of Edom. That's the reason why you have the Duke of Windsor, you have the Duke of Wales, you have the Duke of this, Duke of that, Princess Diana, Princess of this and that, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because they're all Edomites from the Dukes of Edom, the sons of Esau, and the grandsons of Amalek. They are the Dukes of Edom, right? Benjamin Netanyahu, all those goddamn Edomites, people on a global scale that claim that they're Jews, are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. They worship Satan. That's the reason why the Epstein files came out. Boom, it was time. The Most High decided to reveal them, as it is written in Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. Right? Anyway, verse 39. Finally, his father Isaac said to him, you will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above, and you will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck. And from that time, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing. And Esau began to scheme, I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. And these motherfuckers have been out to destroy us from off the face of the earth ever since, man. No reason. We're just going to goddamn kill you just because, right? And that's the wickedness of these devils, man. Alrighty, let's go get more proof, right? All right, Hebrews 12 and 16. Make sure that no one is immoral or godless like Esau, right? So the Dukes of Edom, meaning the elite class at the top, Rothschild, Epstein, and the Oppenheimers, the Gettys, the DuPonts, all of these individuals at the top, okay, the Schwabs, Gates, Bush, all of these faggots, right, at the top, all from the same bloodline. They rule the world in a family affair. Okay? It's a family affair. They've been emulating what was promised to the Israelites by Isaac, the son of promise, the son of Abraham, friend to the Most High, that the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, gave Abraham that covenant, and that covenant passed to Isaac, and from Isaac it passed to Jacob. Not Esau. But Esau emulates that same, or copies off of it, of the same blessing of being at the top. So Haman the Agagite was against Esther and Mordecai, right? To destroy the Jews, who were at the time dark-skinned people. The Jews are always been dark, melanated, swarthy skinned people. You heard the lady say that the Germans, the Scottish, the Brits, the Irish were dark-skinned. Okay? The children of Israel, okay, had been infiltrated by these Edomite devils during the Bolshevik Revolution. Okay? And then, before then, between the 9th and 10th centuries, when they were at war with Judah the entire time. Shaggy, hairy bastards coming constantly at war with our people, trying to take over our lands, which they did do eventually, because our water was poisoned, our food was poisoned, okay, which made us weak. We didn't have any type of vaccines or any of that miscellaneous type shit like that in order to strengthen, or vitamins, other than the vitamins of the earth, to strengthen our immune systems against all the different poisons that they were poisoning us with. Eventually, okay, they was like they were putting arsenic in the food, in the water, okay. We would drink it, it would taste like normal water, but it would have adverse effects on us, making us sick. And then you have, an influx of all of these rats, bringing in the bubonic plague, the Black Plague, okay, and ravaged the entire European nations, okay. That's what happened to the so-called Byzantine Empire, or the Holy Roman Empire, ran by the so-called Dark Ages. The reason why they were called the Dark Ages is because dark-skinned people were at the top, ruling the world for 1,000 years. From the fall of Rome until the Renaissance period, the rebirth of the Roman Empire, the empire of the Edomites, where the Dukes of Edom started to rule again. The other nations tried to negotiate with these Edomites even back then, and they were appalled at what they saw, because these Edomites were still wearing the same clothes that they wore 6 months to a year ago, and it was disintegrating from off their body. You had cockroaches coming out of their clothing. They would actually take a cockroach and put it in their purse in order to eat later. This was at the beginning of the Renaissance period, right, where they celebrate science and astrology and astronomy, okay, and coming into the enlightenment of all of this other miscellaneous bullshit, which is a lie. That's where you have Darwinianism. That's where you have dinosaurs, Big Bang Theory, all of this other miscellaneous bullshit, which is all a lie. Anything to come away from the Most High God. Like it says, make sure that no one is immoral or godless like Esau, who traded his birthright as the firstborn son for a single meal. Okay? He traded his birthright as the firstborn son for a single meal. Wow, that's crazy, right? And that's what he did. You know that afterward, when he wanted his father's blessing, he was rejected. He was too late for repentance, even though he begged with bitter tears. Right? We just read where he pleaded with his father, bless me too, oh my father. And Esau broke down and wept. Okay? So this is all about revenge against their brother. Okay? Now, let's go back in here and see if I can get some more information for you. Salakia. All right, ready? Okay, once again, I'm going to go back into it. Where is that video, man? I just seen it now. Okay, it's not there. Hold on. Salakia. Let's go into history. Salakia, I was going over videos last night. I was watching videos to see what I could make. Boom, 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 boom. Alrighty. Fair use, people. Alright, let's see if I can get this.
5'8", 185 pounds. These are 32, 30. You're a white supremacist.
Salakia. Fair use. Let's go get it. I'm gonna go get me a disclaimer because I don't want no. Let me just go get a disclaimer. All right, let's go get a disclaimer right quick. Let me see if I can. All right. What the hell? Man, come on, Salakia. All right. Copyright disclaimer. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can go get one. Man, come on, man. What the hell? God damn it. Any distraction at all to try to keep you away from the truth. Fair use disclaimer text. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay? Just wanted to make sure that you before I go into the video. Wow, man. Won't let you do nothing. What now? And see, God damn it. These motherfuckers, I swear, man. Man. Damn. Come on.
We're going to take back our country, and we're going to make Israel great again, and we're going to make America great again. America great again. America great again.
we start. $20 is the entry.
Really?
Results are the proof. Don't.
Constitutional war on Black America.
I don't know how many ways that I can explain it. I could write it in a purple marker, a black marker. I can do it in different languages if you want. I can draw pictures. This is not about political differences. Part of this country does not want anybody that's not white in power. They don't. The gerrymandering in the districts, they're taking away black representation. In Louisiana, 1/3 of their population are black, and they're taking all of them out once the Voting Rights Act was removed. South Carolina, Jim Clyburn's seat's going to be gone. Look what they did to Jasmine Crockett. They took away her black seat. Who does MAGA worship? A racist podcaster that demonized black people. The roaming blacks are committing crimes. If the pilot's black, do I know they're qualified? Harris is Black Hillary. Who did they put in as president? A white supremacist, the Grand Wizard, who wouldn't even rent to black people. Why did he take the history of slavery away? Because they don't want Americans to realize that America has not been great. And that's what a lot of this comes down to. America is not a great country. Because when you actually look at the history of America, let's do that. So going back to 1619, let's talk about this great Christian nation that Mike Johnson says God told him it was a great Christian nation built on Christian values. So first we took black people and we kidnapped them from Africa. 1.4 million African Americans died. And then they threw their corpses in the water where bull sharks would follow the slave routes and they ate them. And then once black people were over here, we hung them from trees when they didn't listen to us. And then white people went to church and took pictures in front of them because they're Christians. And they whipped them and beat them and tore out their fetuses and used their babies as alligator baits. Kept them separate from their families. Said they were only worth 3/5 of a white man. And even when they were born here, they weren't considered citizens the first 100+ years. That's your great nation, huh? And the Second Amendment was written because they didn't want the slaves in the Carolinas to have their freedom, so they were going to shoot them dead if they didn't kneel before the white man. And then you have the Native Americans that we treated like absolute dirt. Andrew Jackson, may he rot in hell. Every agreement that was made with them, he threw it out. And we kicked them off the land that was theirs before we came here and colonized them and murdered them. Millions of them died. Their population went from somewhere north of 50 million down to a couple 100,000 in the early 1900s. Women couldn't even vote until the early 1900s. 1940s, we put Asians in internment camps just because they were Asians. Right now, 40,000 people die from gun violence and Americans don't do anything. 14 million of our children go to school hungry. We lead the world in 3 categories. That's it. Military spending, incarcerations, and gun violence, and white supremacy. And we have a rapist who is defending child molesters in the White House, who is starting an illegal war and bombed a school where 170 innocent children were murdered and bombed because of bombed. What exactly is great about America? Nothing. But white people have been lied to about white greatness. And what America has done is we've taken flags and bald eagles and symbols and songs that make your heart feel a certain way and it makes you feel a certain way. And you go, ooh, God bless America. And you stand before the flag and you worship it and you pray to it and you have guns. But you don't actually care about the people that the flag represents. That's why America's not great. You always want to talk about the Second Amendment, but you never want to talk about the 3/5 clause. You want to talk about the greatness of America, but you never want to talk about why black people were lynched in trees. Or why you couldn't vote for the black woman. Because that's what the 2024 election was really about. 77 million Americans and people in my life voted for a rapist, a man that is very likely and most likely a child molester who is actively illegally ignoring the Supreme Court and not releasing the Epstein files, defending child molesters because he's friends with them, has 3 wives and cheats on all of them, doesn't rent to black people, not a racist, very fine people on both sides, more racism, has dinner with Nick Fuentes, more racism, asked for the execution of 5 black men in Central Park, more racism, questions the birth of Barack Obama, more racisms, and he worships the racist podcaster that says the roaming blacks are committing crimes and talks about the great white replacement theory. It's all about racism.
Okay, and then you have miscegenation laws, anti-miscegenation laws that were passed in 1681. That's when they came up with the ideology of black and white, which was what was it? It was damn, I forgot. Yeah, whatever. Well, like I said before, black and white are social constructs that were created in 1681 by these devils, along with anti-miscegenation laws. And the reason why is because the white women, so-called white women, which were Edomites, were falling in love with the dark-skinned, swarthy men, okay, who were Israelites. Okay, the white women were falling in love with the Israelite men and would rather suffer in poverty and squalor as slaves with their Israelite man than stand beside with pride of their white counterparts. The women would rather be at the bottom. Okay? They would rather be at the bottom. That's crazy. I know it sounds nuts, but here, check this out. Let me go into another biblical scripture right quick because that popped in my head. You know, praise the Lord. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashim Yahweh Kakadash. Let's go to Psalms. Where is it at? Boom. Psalms. Okay, Psalms. Was it Psalms 27? Salakia. Okay. I think that's Psalms 27. I was probably there. I probably just said, widows shall not weep. Oh, man. It's got to be perfect now, huh? Oh, it was in Job. I thought it was in Psalms. Salakia. Okay. Job 27:15. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. Right? That's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Right? Okay. Let's start up here. Let's start at Job chapter 27, verse 13. This is the portion of a wicked man with Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Right? It goes off into Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. His soul is not upright in him. Right? And then it goes into another. They have the conditions of hell and of death and cannot be satisfied. Right? Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep, which goes off into Isaiah chapter 14, verses 21. Let's go get it, man. Let's go get it. So The woman that was speaking earlier in the video is a perfect example of widows not weeping. They can't wait till these motherfucking Edomite Caucasian men die off the fucking face of the earth. Yeah? So it's this way they can be happy and get pounded with the 14 all up in them like Section 8. They're gonna be loving it. Ah! What was that? Isaiah, hold on. Isaiah 14. Right? Verse 16. Everyone there will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the earth and made the kingdoms of the world tremble? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it a wasteland? Is this the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on his prisoners? Yeah, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Right? Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21. Unalive this man's children, let them die because of their father's sins. They must not rise and conquer the earth, filling the world with their cities. Right? This is what the Lord of heaven's army says. I myself have risen against Babylon. I will destroy its children and its children's children, says the Lord. Now see, this is a God that says this against these devils, man. Okay? Let's go to 2nd Ezra. Oh, man, come on. No, Ecclesiasticus, Salakia. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, chapter 41, right? Verse 5. Right? The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. Right? Because what do these people talk about when we're not around? Right? When you got a bunch of white people in one room, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are in their mouth all the time. They always got something bad to say about us. Every time without fail, it ain't going to never change. And then when you walk in to the room, everybody turns around, looks at you, and then change the conversation. Have you noticed that? I think you've noticed that most of your entire life. Okay? Verse 6, the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. Right? What is reproach? Shame. So their inheritance is perpetually shamed by how it was built through transatlantic slave trade, the eradication and the decimation of black towns, black cities, Black Wall Street, right? So-called Black Wall Street. Okay, although it is a social construct, okay, that has been ingrained and pushed on us, like the woman said in that book, Redacted Roots, okay, that she was talking about at the beginning of the video. Okay, these are designations that were put upon us with anti-miscegenation laws that said it was against the law to have interracial relationship with the tawny slaves and the dark-skinned so-called heathens of the earth, which we were not. We're Israelites. Okay, how can you come to a country and say that you discovered the place when there was a thriving civilization? Everybody was happy. And then you come in and then through colonization, you destroy it and then make everybody sad, whom the Most High God in heaven hath not made sad, and destroy their homes, whom the Most High God hath not given you permission to destroy. Okay? The Most High is going to kill you for that shit. You eating my devils? Okay? Verse 7, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. They should be ashamed for their forefather's sake, right? They say, that's the reason why they say,
It was a long time ago. Just get over it. That was my great-great-great-grandpappy. That wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Just get over it. Fuck it. It was a long time ago, man. Things have changed.
This is what they tell you, right? This is what the Bible says. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake, right? That's what they say. Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High God, for if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction, right? What did they do? They increased in wickedness. Like it says, let's go back over here in Habakkuk. Yep. Let's go back to Habakkuk. Where's you at? Habakkuk chapter 2. Okay.
Home runs just got sweeter with the 50K long ball jackpot from Fanatic Sports.
What the fuck, man? Come on. Okay. God damn it. Man, I could... Wow. What the fuck? This, man, come on, man. Wow. This is Satan doing this shit. This ain't, nothing else makes any sense. Just goddamn just jump in there, man. Come on, man. You know, talking about some fucking football. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn football, punk. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not tarry, which is the judgment of these Edomite Caucasian devils, which is coming closer. They would never have came out telling Christian pastors to tell their congregations that what they're about to see in the skies are aliens and demons. Get the fuck out of here, man. Those are the chariots of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai here for the salvation of the elect of the house of Israel. And you can have the rest, because the Most High doesn't want them. They're only coming for the elect that the Most High wants, cares about, and that the entire world is going to come back through the seed line of those that he's coming to save. That rapture shit, there's no such thing as a rapture. That is the fear of God taught to you by the precept of men. Christian pastors, Darwinianism, Schofield Bible, Lutheranism. Okay? Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, right? Yep, because he also transgresseth by wine, right? His wicked philosophies, right? Democracy, do as thou wilt, right? And be complicit at keeping the children of Israel that you have in your countries in error, and have them and make them turn against the Lord. And this is what you do. The Willie Lynch doctrine that turns the black versus the light-skinned black, so-called, the so-called black woman versus the black man. So this way it destroys the family, the father against the son against the father, the uncle against the nephew against the uncle. Okay? And as long as you have them in derision in error, right, against the Lord, we get to continue to rule over them. That's the democracy. That's the wine of the fornication of Babylon the Great that all of the heathen nations have drank, as it is written in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. All the nations are mad, mutually assured destruction. All the nations are purchasing weapons of mass destruction in order to use against Babylon the Great to stop them from bullying them and bullying their society. Okay? Yep, because also he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Right? Okay? He enlarges his desire as hell. The conditions of hell. Right? You're oppressed. You got to pay taxes. The light bill is too high. Your rent just went up. You can't make your car payment. They're not giving you a raise. That's just the individuals that still have a job. What about the individuals that just got laid off? They don't have any way to feed their families. They're going to be put out in the street. They're going to be living in a fucking car. Is this not hell being put on you by these people? Trying to obey by their law in their land that they stole from the indigenous population of people that were here fair and square, right? In the name of colonialism, manifest destiny, and Jeebus crossed. Right? They stole it fair and square. That's the mindset of these devils. Don't forget that. Okay? So that's what's going on. And is as death, right? You saw at the beginning of the second video where you have mandatory deadly Beetlejuice shots. They're mandatory. They did it back in 2020, 2019 with the COVID uno huevo bullshit, right? Okay, real shit. That's what, okay. And force people to take that shit in order to keep their job. Look how many people have died and went on into the spirit realm since then. But it was supposed to be for their health. But why are they fucking dying? Okay. They got a video out on, I think it's on Rumble. What is the name of it? It's called, I can't remember. I wish I could remember. It's about the COVID, uno nueve, shots. You know, the shots that you had to take the jab and, you know, what it was doing to the human body. People that would go straight off into the spirit realm 6 months or a month, 2 months, a day, week after they took it. Remember the chick on TV, the little nurse that took it in front of the entire motherfucking world and she just fell down and died? Okay. And then they tried to come up and say that she was still alive, but they had somebody that looked like her. Then they gave the chick that looked like her plastic surgery. Then she gets on and telling me, I'm just fine. Everything is fine, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. That bitch died in front of the entire goddamn world because after that, her parents got on TikTok and Instagram and they scrubbed that video. You can't find it. Her parents got up there in front of the entire world, okay, and told them that they just had their daughter's funeral a week ago. And the mother was devastated, crying that the United States government would sit up there and tell a goddamn lie and perpetuate a lie saying that their daughter was still alive when she had passed on into the spirit realm. And they put her in the fucking ground. Okay. Now, she took that jab in front of the entire world. She was a nurse in front of the entire world and said, oh, I don't feel funny. I feel funny. And fell down on the ground and went straight to heaven right then. After she took the shit. Everybody was rushing around her trying to revive her. She was gone, man. They couldn't get a heartbeat or nothing. Remember, they tried to do CPR, everything and that shit right there on the spot. Have y'all forgot that video, man? You better go find that shit if you can find it. Okay, that bitch fell down and went straight to heaven right then. Okay, in front of the entire planet. So whenever you get done, okay, right, and is as death, right, and cannot be satisfied. They're stealing natural resources from the people in southern Lebanon right now. They trying to steal Iran and the oil from the Iranians right now. At war with these people that ain't busted a grape in a fruit fight against them. They're just picking a goddamn fight for nothing. Come on, man. Right? Really? Okay, you went off into Syria and Libya and stole all their land, right? For greater Israel. Right? Stole all of that shit. See, like I said before, the Dukes of Edom are all the same people. They're Edomites. But like I said before, let's go over here to Luke. No, I think I'm going to go to a different book because this one here is janky as fuck. I'm going to go over here to Luke and the other book, Salakia. Okay. Luke chapter 12, verse 2. Right? For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear and closet shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. And that's what's happening to these devils. They're being revealed on a global scale all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain. Now remember, mountains in the Bible are governments, major governments. Hills and valleys are vassal states and smaller governments that attend to the vassal states, and they they attend to the mountains, which are the major governments, right? Asking, like the states. You have states that ask the government for funds to do this and do that. The states would be vassal states, okay? And the government, Washington, D.C., runs the vassal states. You understand now? Okay. Now, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. That veil that is being spread over all nations is being lifted. These devils know that their time is up, okay? And they're pissed off about it. Oh, well, boo-hoo, right? Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city, it is all full of lies and robbery, the prey departeth not. Right? Nahum chapter 3, verse 5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. That's what the Most High is doing. He's showing the kingdoms of the world the shame of these Edomite Caucasian devils through the Epstein files. They all are making meme videos, TikTok videos, Lego videos about what the fuck these Epstein files and what the president of the divided states of Babylon is doing to the indigenous population of people that were already here, the people that they took as slaves on slave ships. Okay, and what they did to the Latinos, okay, Tainos, right, the Arawak, so-called Aztecs, okay, the Mayans, right, the like I said before, what is it, Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, okay, in the Bible. Those were the individuals that came over here, like it says in 2nd Ezra. I really don't want to go to that book. I'm going to just go to a different Bible. Yeah. Let's go over here to 2nd Ezra. It's not a different Bible. It's the same Bible. It's just a different app. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Right? Let's read it. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Right? But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. And that further country where never mankind dwelt was here in Azareth, aka America. Okay? That there they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them in the sky at night, and held still the flood till they were passed over, because the tribe of Manasseh, okay, and the tribe of Asher and the tribe of Issachar would use different devices that they had created to use the stars and the constellations, okay, in order to navigate across the ocean in order to get over here. They put it in a cartoon because these devils have to reveal the revelation of the method. Remember, revelation of the method, okay, is a method. They have to tell you what they're doing before they do it. So this way you would be complicit with it, whether you knew about it or not. You see? In that movie, the little cartoon movie, Moana, they were having earthquakes and tidal waves and volcanoes and all that shit in their land, right? And the earthquakes, tidal waves, and volcanoes would be representative of King Osei and Salmanasar that took them captive, right? And they ran, or they tried to find a way to get off of that island, and they traveled across the ocean and came into another land. That's the little cartoon of Moana, right? And they had to go through all of these different creatures that were in the ocean, okay, these would be their adversaries, who would be the Edomites and all these other individuals that they had to fight in order to keep the land, right? Now, they had a movie that came out a few years ago. Damn, I forgot the name of that movie, man. It was pretty good. I can't remember. Damn, my memory's worse, man. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Every time that I actually try to remember something, it just gets worse and worse, man. I can't remember anything, man. I'm still if I have any of these biblical scriptures memorized, it's because they burned in my heart, man. That's the only thing I can think of, because these movies and stuff that I know the name of them, I've seen them, but now I can't remember the name of them. It's got to be the food or whatever they're putting in there, man. That's the only thing I can think of. Right? Anyway, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely 1.5 years, which is 18 months, and the same region is called Azareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. We're still here, right? And now when they shall begin to come. Those that had began to come were us, because the Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh were already over here for over 3,000 to 6,000 years from Sennacherib, king of Assyria, right? When I think Hezekiah had prayed unto the Lord, okay, and the Lord sent an angel and destroyed 185,000 of the Assyrian soldiers in one night, okay, and they gave praises to the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua that they had escaped out of the hand of their enemies. This is in you can go back and check secular history, but the Assyrians, just like the Egyptians, would never record a loss if it came to war. America is doing the exact same thing the Assyrians and the Egyptians doing. Okay, these Edomite devils are copycats, man. They don't have their own culture. They have their culture vultures. They steal the culture, the mannerisms, the foodstuffs, and the identity of the people in which they conquer, and then assume their identity. That's Esau Edom, the so-called white man, in a nutshell, and that's what they've always done. They're not even original in the wickedness that they do, because they're currently copying off of the Babylonians, who were Egyptians, who were Hamites. Okay, who are Canaanites. You see? All of the wickedness that they're doing, they're copying off of some other nationality or race of people. That these Edomites don't have their own culture. Why do you think they copy off of black culture? Why do you think their women want to be with us? Why do you think, I mean, come on, man. Okay? They're trying to assimilate into our culture. They try to assimilate the Hispanic culture from the Hispanics. With lowrider trucks and cars, old school. You see a white boy off in one of them cars, that motherfucker can pay for it with a 50% discount. You see a Latino off in a lowrider or some shit like that, he had to put his life's blood into it and whatever money that he could afford. Okay? But these Edomites, they can just go to the store and buy that shit. No problem. With a goddamn credit card. Yeah, I'm going to be cool. Goddamn racist bastards. And, it's not a bad thing for them to be racist. They can be racist. It's fine. All they're doing is advocating for their race to be above another race. Okay, I get it. But it's the characteristics of the individuals that manifest their actions on the people and the poor and the needy, okay, the people that have no ability to fight back, that makes being a racist a bad thing, okay? They take that shit out of context. If you go back to the definition of what a racist is and break it down, it's really not a bad thing. Neither is being in a cult, as far as culture, because cult is short for culture, and all you're doing is going back to the original culture of what you were originally derived from. That's all you're doing, and you're combining with other individuals that believe the same thing you do. That's a cult. Well, shit, Christianity's the largest cult on earth through Catholicism, right? They all bow down and worship a white man wearing a fucking white dress with a hat on, carrying a motherfucking post around with Jesus Christ crucified upside down. Okay, whatever the fuck you get done. Okay, and then you got the cap on top of their head that says vicarious Philidai, which is in reference to 666. Okay, in Roman numerals. Come on, man. Vicarious Philidai. Okay, talking about some vicar of the Son of God. Bullshit. And the vicar of the Son of God is a replacement, a carbon copy of the Son of God on earth. Either you're the Son of God or you're not. There's no goddamn in between. You see what I'm saying? And see, this is what I mean, man. And then all these people bow down and worship this Edomite white man that can't do a goddamn thing for them. Kiss his ass, kiss his ring. Okay? Come on now. So, I mean, but like I said before, man, these people, they're just wicked, man. Ain't gonna never change. They can't change. Okay? Fucking devils. Right? Let's go to Psalms, Slakia, chapter 19, verse 1. And to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. This is more about the shameful spewing that these Edomite devils are going through. Okay? The firmament showeth his handiwork. What is the firmament? The skies above. What's in the sky? Wireless fidelity, aka Wi-Fi, right? Through the 5G towers. That's the reason why you are able to use your telecommunications device in your phone. Okay? And you know the firmament, that's where the Wi-Fi signal is at. You can't see it, but you know it's there because your phone works, right? Okay? Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. Right? So these video epistles go out every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, revealing the wickedness of these Edomite devils. You need to get this knowledge before it's too late, because these Edomites, their plan is to shut down the internet and to set it up to where through digital ID, you got to prove that who you are in order to get back on the internet. And if you put up any videos that are against their regime, against Project 2025, they're going to shut down your channel and shut down your monetary compensation, because with that digital ID, it also carries your digital wallet. You can't get paid because you can't go to work. You can't go to work because you can't get paid. They got to let you go because they have no way to pay you. They're not going to allow you to work for free because of their bullshit law. Right? Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. And you can find these video epistles on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, wherever, okay, in different languages across the planet, where we reveal and show how we connect the dots, precept upon precept, using biblical scripture, and apply that to secular history and things what's going on around you today. That's the reason why this truth is so precious. These Edomites want to shut us up, because if you have a country that's based on bloodshed, rape, and murder, and you have a mainstream media outlet that pushes lies and propaganda, when an individual tells the truth, there's something wrong with that. He's wrong for telling the truth, because we're telling a lie and he's telling the truth. We got to put him in jail. We got to punish him for telling the truth, because we're trying to tell these people a lie in order to get them to be complicit with helping us keep the Negroes, the Latinos, and Native Americans in error against the Lord. Okay? As long as we can do that, then we're going to continue to rule forever. As long as these niggers and Latinos are fighting against their own people, fighting against the truth, and fighting against the Bible, we don't have a problem. Okay? Which goes into the Willie Lynch doctrine, right? You're mentally turning the dark skin versus the dark skin versus the light skin, the woman versus the man, the father against the son, the daughter against the mother. That's what Willie Lynch doctrine was all about. Okay, Willie Lynch was an Edomite Caucasian devil that owned slaves in the West Indies on a sugar plantation. And he came to America at the White House and told these devils and how to stop the rebellion of the blacks, so-called blacks, that were rebelling against their slave masters. Because if you didn't do what the slave master told you back then, they just hang you from a tree in front of everybody. Or they just buck break you with 4 or 5, maybe 10 white men, rape a grown black man up the ass in front of his children, in front of his wife, in front of his compatriots that he worked in the fields with. You just bang him right up the ass. Okay, this is the wicked. I apologize for being so straightforward, but you need to understand and visualize what these devils have been doing to us for over 500 years. That's the reason why it says in the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2, that they sold a boy for an harlot and a girl for wine that they might drink. Because in the early 17, 1800s, 1600s of slavery, that's what they did. They would take 3 or 4 female slaves and sell them for rum. Or tobacco. They would sell a boy for sexual pleasures. A little boy. Okay? Real shit. That's history. Too late. You can't even, well, that was a long time ago. That a bitch, the Epstein file says you're still doing it. What are you talking about? Okay? Their line is gone out throughout the earth, their words to the end of the world. Right? In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, and the sun, under the sun on the earth, everything can be seen, right? Because it's daylight, right? Now, their line has gone out through the earth and their words to the end of the world. The only way that's happening is through the internet. The internet's doing the heavy lifting for us, okay? Because you have individuals in different countries that are waking up to the truth of Great Millstone, okay? And they're pushing the 100% truth, okay? It's what happened to me. I never met these guys before, but I believe what they say. Like it says in what is it? 2nd Ezra, chapter 1, verse 15, I think it is, if I can remember. Salakia. I can't remember what. Right, here it is. 2nd Ezra chapter 1, verse 32. I sent unto you my servants the prophets, whom ye have taken and slain, and torn their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, saith the Lord. Okay. Verse 33. Thus saith the Almighty Power, your house is desolate. I will cast you out as the wind doth the stubble. This is what the Most High done to us by sending us in the transatlantic slave trade. Okay. Like I said before, he cast us out of the land of Israel. And your children shall not be fruitful, for they have despised my commandment and have done the thing that is evil before me. Right? Which is worship idolatry, worship Jeebus Christ. Okay, saying that they're never going to leave Jeebus Christ. You see it on TikTok videos. Elder Manat Ba down in GMS, South Carolina, makes videos about these Judah going off all the time. Right? Your houses will I give to a people that shall come, which have not, having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do the thing that I have commanded them. They have seen no prophets, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them. Right? I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness, and though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say. So we believe what Yahushua HaMashiach says through the internet of individuals that preach these video epistles in order to implore our people to turn back before it's too late, man. Can't you see what's going on around you? What the actual fuck, man? These devils are losing. You're getting more white people put out on the street than so-called blacks and Latinos. But see, we know how to deal with adversity. They don't. Okay? If you got a house and they're homeless, eventually they're going to come up to you and ask you for something. And if they get something from you, they're going to try to rob you and take whatever the fuck you got after that. Okay? Because you were stupid enough to trust them. That's the thing. These devils cannot be trusted, man. Let's go get it. Where is that at? Psalms 55, verse 20. Right? He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Right? They look at all of the peace treaties they had with the indigenous population of people, and the Indians are here. The Arawak, the Chickasaw, the Blackfoot, okay, all of these different Indian tribes here that were here, okay? Right? And every covenant that they signed with them, they broke. So they showed the entire world by doing that, they can't be trusted. Okay? Hold on. When they say trust me, you better watch out because they're going to stab you in the back. They're going to find a way to find your weakness and then they're going to exploit it. I'm telling you. That's what they do. It's their nature. Right? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Right? What is Donald Trump talking about? We're going to, the war's over. We won. Right? Which they're telling a lie. Okay? Or else why would you still be at war? Right? Now, a lot of analysts have said that all Donald Trump's got to do is just go to the negotiating table and just pull the troops out. But that's going to show weakness, okay, in front of the entire world, that you came off like you were so fucking tough and then you lost and backed out, okay, which leaves Iran in control of the world's oil instead of the U.S. So the U.S. petrodollar loses all validity. Nobody's going to trade in it anymore. They're going to trade in whatever Iran is saying to push. And Iran is saying to push Chinese yuan. Now you know why Donald Trump went to China and brought 12 or 15 of the world's richest CEOs and businessmen. I made a video about that yesterday. Okay, and we went to China to make a business agreement with China concerning oil and everything else. Okay, because Iran's not getting no oil, but they can get the oil dirt cheap from China. So they can get the oil dirt cheap from China to run their, okay. Then they're making business transactions to make these data centers in China all over the place. Okay, and to build these data centers there and to use up all of their water sources there and to bring the conditions of hell and of death there. Okay, as a business transaction. Okay? Right? Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So he brought all of the swords of all of the individuals that purchase and buy everything that China makes. These individuals exploit it and push it onto the consumers here in America. All of those CEOs, all of them, wow, Amazon was there, AI, NVIDIA, Chatbot GPT, Gideon, all of the motherfuckers, all of the AI cats was there. SpaceX, Elon Musk, all of them was there. Okay, Larry Fink of BlackRock, Blackwater. Okay, man, just keep on going on. Clown Slob, Yuval Harari, all of them. Everybody, if you had over $100 billion in your bank account, you were over there in Xi Jinping's face saying, hey, man, shake hands with us. We'll make money off of you. We'll make money off your people. Your people get to go back to work. Okay, we hear that you're getting rid of all the Christians. Good job. You know, we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay, we're just having a little trouble with the people. They don't want. They're kind of hard-headed. They're thinking that they're going to fight back. So we need a bunch of robots. How many of those robots do you have? We're going to purchase a bunch of robots from you and add them into our military. Okay, then they're going to send a bunch of robots over into the Ukraine to fight against Russia, the Russian Spetsnaz. Okay. And they're going to tell Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin's going to be pissed off, and he's going to push the button on America, Babylon the Great, EU, and NATO, and just turn it all to fucking glass and make it glow. Donald Trump's already making threats about he's going to use a nuclear weapon on Iran. Okay? Well, what if the oil catches fire, you asshole? You can't put it out. Okay? I mean, these people, they're insane, man. Do you understand me? They want to control the reins of power. They like blood and drinking and all of this other stupid shit at the top. They love it, man. Okay? But like I said before, the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is from to destroy these devils. They got to go, man. Okay? Okay, so okay, let me go get okay, let me go get Matthew. Yeah, because let me get Matthew. Matthew 13. Matthew 13, verse 24. I think, let me try 24. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. Another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. And while he slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou not sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares? Right? Now, that's the reason why you have individuals that are mixed. Like I said before, the Israelites have been scattered into all nations. Right? Like it says over here, let me give you an example. Ezekiel. Where was that? There it is. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 11. We'll start at verse 16. Right? Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, and although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, our power, I will even gather you from the people and assemble you out of the countries where you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Right? So these are referring to Israelites that he had scattered, his people, right? And they shall come hither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and give them a heart of flesh, right? Meaning the Most High is going to change us into what it means, into another meaning of being human. Okay, the stony heart is the heart of evil and wickedness, being hard-headed, like it says in Isaiah chapter 30, okay, as an example, where they say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit, right? That's the stony heart, because like I said before, like the old saying goes, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a universal act. Or revolutionary act, Salakia. Okay? Right? Okay, now, and they shall come hither, right? They shall come out of the world, and they shall take away their detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and give them an heart of flesh, that they may walk in my statutes and keep mine ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Okay? So, and that's what the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is talking about, as far as here in the book of Matthew, about whence hath it tares. Okay? Now, the tares, okay, would be Esau Edom inflicting his seed line in the Israelites as well. Like you have black woman, white man, brown baby, right? But that brown baby goes back to Esau Edom, that white man, right? That brown baby marries another black woman. The child comes out darker still. Okay? That grandfather is still an Edomite, Caucasian. That baby marries another black woman, and the babies come out even darker. Okay? So now they look like just like all the other so-called Negroes, right? But their great-grandfather is an Edomite. You see? White man, black woman, brown baby. Brown baby, black woman, dark baby. Black man, black woman, darker baby. Right? Great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather goes back to a white man. 4 generations. Same thing on the other side. Black woman, or black man, white woman, brown baby. Right? Brown baby marries another white girl, okay? Brown baby, brown man, white girl, white baby, blue eyes. White baby gets married to another white girl. White baby, right? White baby, brown baby, right? White woman, Edomite baby. Looks like an Edomite, right? Like you saw at the beginning of the video. Okay? Brown hair, blue eyes, blonde hair, blue eyes, red hair, green eyes, whatever. Okay? Because of the white woman's genetic heritage. Okay? Okay? But the seed line of that great-grandfather goes back to a black man. You see what I mean? Great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather goes back to so-called Israelite man. You see what I mean? But the baby is changed down here with blonde hair and blue eyes. Same thing with the white men. Okay? Look like they're black. These are the ones that look like black are tares. They're the ones that they believe that the white folks are okay and all this other bullshit. Got tattoos all over their fucking face and all of their bodies, all this other type of shit. You know, you have individuals that try to copy the wickedness of these devils at the same time. Which, I mean, I get it. I ain't never had no tattoos myself personally because I think it's wrong. I read the Bible. I went to church when I was little, okay, and I read the Bible and it said tattoos are wrong, so I stayed away from it. Everybody was taking it, getting a tattoo. I just stayed away from it because that's what it was. I don't have any tattoos. Okay? I mean, you have individuals that are Israelites that are in the truth that have tattoos. I'm not saying there's anything, I'm just saying that, I didn't do it. My personal preference, okay? All right, but anyway, Matthew chapter 13, right? Verse 27. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou know that didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares, right? So where do these tares come from? What the fuck? They look just like the wheat, but it doesn't make any sense. See what I mean? In biblical scripture, right? He said unto them, an enemy hath done this, right? And who is the enemy of the Israelites? Edomites. Esau, Edom. He said, like I said in the book of Genesis, the days of my funeral for my father are going to be, then I will put my brother to death, right? Hold on. An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up, all the tares, right? But he said, Nay, lest ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. In the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, who are the angels, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn, right? The wheat goes into Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. The indignation are the tares, okay, along with 2/3 of our people that are going to be cut off and die, as it is written in Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. But a third part shall be left therein. That third part are those that went into the chambers of the Lord, right? That are also the wheat that are in the barn. Up and away from the great indignation, which is the wrath of the Lord's indignation. The sword of his indignation are these thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles that Vladimir Putin, Gog, right, and Magog, right, the land in which he sits, which is China and Russia, okay, and rules over that through the BRICS nations, and convinced all of these different. What the fuck? What is that? What happened? Was that? It just came out of nowhere. You see that? Wow, hold on, man. Oh, wow, okay. Let me see. Yeah, I'm like, wow, man. Damn, Satan trying to do anything to stop this video. Wow, I must be telling the truth, man. I must be telling the truth, huh? Okay, anyway. Like I said before, let both grow together until the harvest, right? The harvest is almost here, okay? And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers with the angels, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. So they're going to be left here and melted in great fervent heat, as it is written in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. right? But gather the wheat into my barn, which goes, like I said before, in Isaiah 26 and 20, right? Okay, also goes into Isaiah. Let's go get it. I'm going to just show you what I mean. Isaiah, oh man, Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Let's read it together, right? Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh up out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and there shall no more cover her slain. So the tares that the reapers, who are the angels, have tied up in bundles to burn, okay, are the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. You see? And the earth is disclosing her blood through the internet, through the firmament, right? Where everybody can see all together the wickedness of what these devils are doing. Okay? How they're doing it in real time now. So people are actually seeing what happened to the indigenous population of people and how they've been going from continent to continent to continent, stealing people's lands and natural resources, promising them lies and making covenants with them and then later breaking them in order to steal more land and more natural resources in order to get power. The people fight back, they drop a nuclear weapon on them. Boom! Everybody else gets in line. Please don't burn us up too, okay? Right? Now, let's go over here to Isaiah chapter 31, verse 5. Right? As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it, and passing over, he will preserve it. Right? Turn ye unto him whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man shall cast away his idols of silver and his idols of gold. Right? Because U.S. petrodollars are about to become a thing of the past. Right? Which your own hands have made unto you for a sin. Okay? Then shall the Assyrian, the oppressors, right, that push this central bank digital currency, digital ID, forcing you to do this shit where, you know, that you will be ostracized from society, right? Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him. That's thermonuclear weapon. Okay? And he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. Right? Which goes into Jeremiah chapter 50. Let's go get it. Become as women. Boom. There it is. Boom. Big as shit. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 37. A sword is upon their horses, right? The cars, and upon their chariots, trucks, right? No, gas prices are too high. Trucks are going to stop running. People won't be able to afford to drive. And then those individuals are going to have to deal with E10 or G10 gasoline, which is going to stop up and gum up and cake the engines to where you're forced to use Uber electric engines, right? This type of shit, you know, right? This is what they're planning. A sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her, right? The mingled people. Right? We just went into Matthew chapter 13. Okay? And they shall become as women. Right? A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Right? So they're finished pretty much. Just putting it out there. Okay? All right. So, like I said before, let's go back over here to was it Matthew 13? And 20, what was it at? I'll just start at 27, no big deal. Alrighty. Start at verse 27 again. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares? And he said unto them, An enemy hath done this. Right? The mingled people. Remember? Jeremiah 50. Right? And the servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Right? Who are the servants? Servants are the the reapers, right? But he said, Nay, lest ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, the angels, gather ye together first the tares, bind them up in bundles, right, the mingled people, and burn them, leave them here, 2/3 of our people being left here and melted, but gather the wheat into my barn. Okay? So, that's it. I probably stayed on this video too long. Now, let me see. Yeah. Sorry. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Yahweh Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for pushing 100% truth who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And before I go, I'm going to finish that video up that we had earlier, as soon as I can get back to it. I mean, I've just been fighting Satan on this goddamn phone all day, man. All day. What the hell?
See this little guy?
Man,
this is why your eyes
man.
are baggy, your face is puffy, and your belly looks 6 months pregnant.
Damn, man.
It's all about racism. MAGA believes that because you were born a certain color that you are entitled to some privileged life based on what you look like instead of who you are. And that's what's sad. If we're all created in the image of God, how did we start a nation where black people were only worth 3/5 of a white man? I thought we're all created equal. Ah, yes. So God created in your minds the black man to serve the white man, but we're all equal. Got it. So what if you were born black? Would you be okay just being someone's servant? No? Why couldn't black people vote for the first 200 years if this is a great country? Oh, why is it, if we're such a great white nation, why is it that you want to put Bibles in schools, yet the biggest chunk of child molesters are in the Catholic Church, which are led by white men? Aren't there Bibles in the church? The Bibles didn't steep us off that. In this great white nation, why is it that dozens and hundreds of women were abused by white Baptist ministers and they covered it up for decades? The Bible's there, didn't stop them. Sure, January 6th, right? White men be police officers. They get pardoned by a rapist. But if Colin Kaepernick takes a knee, standing for something, peacefully protesting, somehow he's a... Yeah, you see where I'm going with this? Because it's about white supremacy. You're not going to vote your way out of this, America. I'm going to tell you this right now. The only thing that's going to change is when more white people that look like me do exactly what I'm doing. You have got to be uncomfortable. There's that old quote from Nazi Germany. First they came for the socialists, but I wasn't a socialist, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for the Jews, but I wasn't Jewish, so I didn't say anything. And then they came for me. And that's exactly what white people have done since 1619. And in fact, I would even argue that when Martin Luther King says evil succeeds when good people do nothing, I would say that white supremacy succeeds when white people sit silently.
And they're going to continue to sit silently until they're in a fucking FEMA camp. They're going to be the first ones to take the mark of the beast, R.F.I.D chip. Okay? They're going to be the first ones. Fuck it. Okay, it's a fact. Okay. All right. Let me go prove that to you right quick, and then I'm going to get off this video. I'm sorry I make these videos so long. R.F.I.D chip. R.F.I.D chip programmed by Donald Trump. Let's try that one. Look. First thing you pull up is Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. Look, see? Look. See? Okay. The CHIPS Act under Trump. NVIDIA. They were all of those individuals. Come on, man. Okay. Let me go get RFID chips in your hand. All right. Hold on. There's one.
What if you could pay for your shopping with just a wave of your hand? This RFID chip works just like a contactless card. It's implanted into your hand, and once it's there, you can pay for groceries, open doors, and even unlock your car. What if you could pay for your shopping with just a wave of your hand? This RFID...
Okay. Who do you see that are going to be the first in line? All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Yahweh Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for pushing 100% truth through rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that have been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.